I would like to state the following rules. Rule number 1. Be mindful about what you are saying. Do not say things that might hurt or offend anybody. Please note that politics, sex and religion are not to be discussed. Rule number 2. Avoid moving when there is a speaker on the dais. You may move when you hear an applause. Rule number 3. For those of you online, please put your devices on mute, and you may unmute when you are talking. And for those of us who is present here, please put your mobile phone on silent. I will give you 10 seconds to put your mobile phone on silent. Alright. Today's theme is give up, give in, or give it all, give up. It is easy to give up, and it is easy to give in. But it takes all you have to give it all. After I completed my master's, I was contemplating a PhD, and I was finding it very difficult to crack the competitive exams. So somewhere along the line, I had fallen into despair. So I would say that I had started enjoying the state of being miserable. It was easy for me to give up on my dreams of a PhD, and it was easy for me to give in to despair. But my husband jolted me out of that state. He challenged me to give it all. And that was the day I decided that I am going to give it all. I strategized and I worked hard. It took me only 3 months of focused work, hard work, focused work, for me to be able to crack a lot of the competitive exams. And after that, I was called in for an interview at a lot of the premier institutes in the country. The person that I'm going to call upon next recently got transferred to another department, a department that she knew nothing about and she had no experience working in. And her job was to be a liaison between the largest association of exhibition and her own organization. She says that she did not have any experience doing this role, but decided to give it all. And that needed courage, determination, and communication skills, which of course she learns from our Toastmasters Club. And she says that the experience was so enriching, and there was a lot of learning and a lot of networking and great job satisfaction. I call upon our President, Madam Hannah Victoria.
A very good evening, my dear fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. Good evening.
Good evening.
I call to open meeting number 1320. For the benefit of the guests, Toastmasters is a platform where you learn and practice public speaking skills. The Bangalore Toastmasters Club is one of the largest and the second oldest clubs in across 800 clubs in India. We are a community club where you get to learn from the experiences of a student and a 72-year-old. Toastmasters is a platform where you practice time and again, and you may not get perfect, but you can never invest enough on communication. So it's a great platform to learn and develop a skill. May I now call upon our Secretary, Toastmaster Kirtana, to please present the minutes of the meeting 1319.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, dear Toastmasters and guests. The previous meeting number 1319 theme, Embrace Your Imperfections, and the word of the day was peccadillo, which means minor fault or mistakes.
A good way to use both the theme and the word of the day can be, I made a catalog by sending a wrong link and I'm trying to embrace my imperfections. The meeting was started by our acting Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Smitha, with absolutely high energy at sharp 6:30 p.m. and followed by our President Hannah's speech, inspiring us to embrace our imperfections, stating a few of her own. Next, we had a very charming, successful, inspiring entrepreneur as our Toastmaster of the day, who is distinguished Toastmaster Lalit, stitching each segment of the meeting wonderfully. We had three prepared speeches by Toastmasters Chaitra, Alok, and distinguished Toastmaster Sumitra, and they were evaluated by distinguished Toastmaster Rajdeep and Toastmasters Melvin and Nagesh, respectively. We had a break during which snacks were perfect to battle the heat, cold custard and lovely vadas. Thank you so much, Sureka ma'am. Post the break, to set us back on fire, we had, after the chill snacks, we had the table topic session conducted by the table topic master, Toastmaster Vijay Kalkuntri. Make sure we stayed calm, yet make sure we were on the edge and think through his topics. We had the evaluation session headed by our general evaluator, Toastmaster Alan, giving us tips on how to improve our meeting, and he was helped by the Tagore team members, Toastmasters Priyanka, Robinson, and Sri Lakshmi and Lokesh. The awardees of the meeting were, for Best Tagore Team Player, it was a tie between Toastmasters Sri Lakshmi and Robinson. For Best Role Taker, it was Toastmaster Alan. For Best Table Topic Speaker, it was Toastmaster Nitin. For Best Evaluator, it was DTM Rajdeep. For Best Speaker, it was Toastmaster Alok. We had a total of attendees, both online and offline, as 43. That is, members were 28 and guests were 15. The meeting ended by 8:45 p.m. Back to you.
Any amendments to the minutes of the meeting presented? I stand to declare minutes of the meeting 1319 as passed. Coming to the theme of today's meeting, give in, give up, and give it your all. This reminds me of a few triads like learning, unlearn, and relearn. Or in life, at any point in time, we are either in a storm, in the middle of a storm, getting into a storm, or just out of a storm. Similarly, giving in, giving up, and giving it your all is a very integral part. You can only classify any stage in our lives into these three categories. Coming to, similarly, what do you say? I'm totally lost in thought. My train of thought lost. These three categories is like in our physics laboratory, we've had the spirit level, wherein you get to see which is the bubble should be in the center. It is aligned when you align your surface horizontal, perfectly horizontal to the apparatus which you're keeping the spirit level on. Similarly, it is that how we balance out what we are giving, how we are aware of what we are giving in, what we are giving up, and what we are giving our best for. That awareness is very important. As long as we are aware, giving in, I remember giving up, I would say first. When I met my husband before the marriage, he used to take me out just a couple of times, and I realized that he was smoking, he's a smoker. I was okay with it because my cousin brothers, I've seen them smoke, my uncles were smoking, so I was okay with it. But once after marriage, I realized that this gentleman is a chain smoker. The moment he gets up, he smokes before coffee, before going to the toilet, after going to the toilet, before a meal, after a meal. was quite horrified. The first year, I let it pass. And after that, believe me, friends, I hounded and pounded him to give up smoking. But it didn't work. In the sense, he could only reduce it, but he could not give it up. And then I went on my knees. I did pray about it. And even then, more than a year passed, he didn't. But suddenly after that, for no reason whatsoever, he just gave up smoking. This value, I was persistent. I would give him all the credit, but the value what I had was persistence. Giving in is very, very difficult for me. But my second daughter taught me a lot of giving in. She demands and commands. Recently, last week, we had been to one of my cousin's house, and she wanted to stay back. Both my husband and I said no. And then she insisted that, she stayed back. So we gave it to her. My personal thought was, okay, she's 10 now, so maybe she can take her decisions, and it's time to give her that freedom to take her choices. Though when she came back, she did miss all of us, and we missed her terribly, but that value of giving freedom was there. Giving it your all. Many of us given our all to many things in life, be it our studies, be it our work, be it parenting, we give it our best. Similarly, what if we give our best to developing ourselves, to develop a skill? Toastmasters is a platform where you can develop your skill of the Toastmasters platform gives us 4 values. It's in the acronym of RISE. RISE stands for respect, integrity, service, and excellence. So these 4 values, time and again, when we come here together, we tend to develop that skill, whet the skill. These 4 skills is what Toastmasters is all about. So I encourage you to give it your best at Toastmasters, and you will have a better version of yourselves. Moving forward to the Toastmaster of today. This gentleman is a senior leader at Nokia. He is involved with several NGOs on the board and is a pranic healer and a trainer in meditation. He's a very quiet Toastmaster, but yet very, very, very helpful. He is mentored by Toastmaster Robinson. He has a very good sense of humor, a very slight sense of humor, but the humor is always on himself. And he believes that many of our problems can again be solved with the acronym KID. And KID stands for the values kindness, integrity, and discipline. So please join me to welcome the Toastmaster of today, Toastmaster Lokesh.
Year 2008, and we had this bug in Bangalore. It's called as the marathon bug. Most of my colleagues, they started training for marathon, they started running marathon. And so our coffee time discussions was, how much did I train, how many kilometers did I run, what diet I'm doing, and so on. And I would quietly listen to all of them talking about this, sharing with each other. And they would always say, Lokesh, why don't you join us? I'd say, yes, I'll join you. When you're running, I'll cheer for you. And that I did for 3 years. I cheered for them. Finally, one of them, Bobby, my friend, who's into barefoot running, he knew that if he wants something to get done from me, he has to tell me, Lokesh, you cannot do it. So he told me, Lokesh, you cannot run a marathon. And I said, I'll show it to you, I'll prove to you, yes, I can do it. So I said, okay, what should I target for? He said, you target for 10 kilometers in less than 1 hour. And I, like this, went to the gym, went to the trainer and asked him, I have 3 months, I want to train for this marathon and my target is 10 kilometers in less than 1 hour. What do you think? He looked at me again. No. Okay, so I went back to another gym and this time I asked the trainer, 3 months, 10 kilometers less than 10 hours, 10 kilometers in less than 1 hour. This, he said, yes. All right. But I didn't know what I was signing for. I paid the fees and then I turned up next day. What I realized is that the entire journey there, I had to give up my mornings. I used to laze around in the bed. The nice morning sleep that many of us really enjoy, I had to give up that. Most importantly, I had to put in all my effort. I had to train the cardio, the flexibility, the strength, the stamina, all of this. Fast forward, 3 months later, I ran a marathon with all of them, of course. And I achieved my goal of 10 kilometers in less than 1 hour. So that was my first experience of giving up things that you don't want, sometimes the things that you really love, your mornings, and giving in all your full-time effort, putting the effort to achieve your goals. And that was an experience of being sedulous in doing what I wanted to do. Now, 10 years later, a little more wiser, more stable, I know that people cannot challenge me to do something. But it reminds me of one person who, way back in 1920s, saw that he was working by YMCA, and he saw that for people to be successful, they need to develop the communication and leadership skills. His name was Ralph C. Smedley. And in October 1924, he founded the first Toastmasters Club in Santa Ana, California, where he gave the training to young people on how to develop their communication skills and how to develop their leadership skills so that they can be better in life and they can do more community service. So first Toastmasters Club was founded in October 1924 at Santa Ana, California. We have more than 3 lakh members all over the world, which is actually which is more than the headcount of many Fortune 500 companies, including the companies I work for, the Nokia. The headcount is really more than that. This is present, the Toastmasters is present in more than 149 countries all over the world, and we have more than 53,000 clubs across the world. And BTMC is one of the second club in India. And this year we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the club. We're glad to be associated with the BTMC club. So in any Toastmasters meeting, we have 3 phases, 3 parts. Toastmasters, as Madam Hannah said, is there to help us to develop the communication skills. So the first part is, the first segment is prepared speeches. In prepared speeches, speakers, they prepare on a particular aspect of communication. For example, body language, gestures, voice modulation, and other. They prepare, they practice, they come here, and they present to the audience. And in audience, there's one person who's evaluating them based on the purpose of their speech, whom we call as the evaluator. And that person later provides the feedback to the speaker as part of the 3rd segment of our meeting, so that a person can improve and also recognize the good qualities within oneself while presenting the speech. The 2nd segment is the table topics, which is basically the impromptu speaking, and where a person is given a topic and a person has to come up and give the speech on the topic, taking on the field. And this is one of my most dreaded and most favorite, but this is one area which definitely builds the confidence, takes you out of your comfort zone, and helps you become a better speaker. To take this meeting, as mentioned, that there's this 3rd segment of evaluation. We also have a general evaluator, a very experienced Toastmaster who looks at the meeting from the start to end and looks at what are the good practices in this meeting and what are the things that can be improved for future. And I'll introduce the general evaluator to you in the third segment. But this general evaluator is also supported by a team of 4 people. We call it Peggle. And for the role of timer, we have Chirant. Chirant has been Chirant joined the Toastmaster movement through speechcraft, and I would request Chirant to share the guidelines or explain his role.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As a timer, it is my duty to time the entire meeting as well as its individual parts. So for today's meeting, we have a prepared speech which is of 5 to 7 minutes. So as an indication, on the 5th minute, I'll hold up the green card. As the 6th minute, I'll be holding up the yellow card, and at the 7th minute, I'll be holding up the red card. So for the next session, which is of table topic session, which is for 1 to 2 minutes. At the first minute, I'll hold up the green card. At the 1 minute 30 second, I'll hold up the yellow card, and 2 minutes, I'll hold up the red card. So for the evaluation, the time duration is 2 to 3 minutes. So at the second minute, I'll hold up the green card. At 2 minutes 30 seconds, I'll hold up the yellow card, and third minute, I'll hold up the red card. So at the end of the meeting, I'll give my evaluation to general evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sharon. For the role of our counter, we have Toastmaster Sujata, and we are requested to please explain your role.
Dear team members, along with every day should be the performance day, along with achieving the target, see that this one is achieved. Don't forget to ensure that this is left out. See that team members are ensured. This one, please don't miss this one, that one. Dear Toastmaster, good evening.
Good evening.
As a counter in charge, my role is to monitor and observe the repetitive words and other things. And before good evening, I use this one as a repetitive word. That speech every day in our bank, morning hours, we used to have a 4-5 minutes meeting by one of the topmost bosses of our bank. I have a counter phobia. After joining the Toastmaster, whoever gives the speech, immediately my phobia will start. And this one, whenever he was using, I could not keep quiet. One day, I did not give up. I just given and texted him that, sir, your speech is marvelous, but without the word this one. Next day, I was expecting a blasting from my GM, but to my surprise, he really called me and complimented. This all courage is because of this Toastmaster. So I am proud to say that I am a Toastmaster. As a counter in charge, I will be monitoring all the repetitive words and pauses. And at the end of the meeting, I will be submitting my report to the committees. Thank you.
For the role of the grammarian, we have Toastmaster Ellen.
Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I take note of improper language as well as outstanding words, quotes, sayings or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word of the day is sedulous, which means showing dedication and diligence. An example for this is, which is evident even today, even though rains often play havoc on Friday evenings, the sedulous members of Bangalore Toastmasters Club always go against the odds and make every weekly meeting a success. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting and also report on the usage of the word of the day. Over to the Toastmaster.
Thank you. The good speaking starts with good listening. So for the role of the listener, we have Toastmaster Kirtana. Meanwhile, I have a request to you. Whenever any speaker uses the word of the day, please raise your hand, give a thumbs up. Whenever any speaker uses the word of the day.
Good evening, dear Toastmasters. Like the Toastmaster of the day already told, good speaking starts with good listening. I'll be a listener today and I'll be noting down a few questions, ask the speakers progress with their speech and get back to you with the same questions to make sure you're listening properly. And with your answers, obviously, we all will know who's the best speaker. Best listener.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the Tiger team for supporting the entire meeting. So let's start with the first segment of our meeting, and we have the speaker. The first speaker is someone who loves to talk. You give him any topic and he'll talk continuously, and he also said that he can stay awake all night without feeling sleepy. One of the really admirable quality for a student. Before I welcome the speaker, let me invite the evaluator of the speaker to read the guidelines, and may I invite our Vice President Membership, George, please, to share the guidelines.
Good evening to Toastmasters from all my guests. Today's speaker is giving his first icebreaker speech from his partner which is selected last week. The purpose of this project is for member to introduce themselves to the club and also to follow the basic structure of the public speaking. Please note timer that the time is from 4 to 16 minutes. And also, I wish all the best for the speaker.
Thank you very much. Toastmaster George. Please join me in welcoming our speaker for his first speech at the Bangalore Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Shashank.
There was this young kid, an introvert, but he was a topper of his class. He was a brilliant and a smart kid, but he never openly spoke to people, other than a small group of people, which is his close family and a couple of friends. He finished his schooling and then he joined a college which offered both pre-university courses and undergraduate courses for a total of 5 years. Now, when he was in his first year of PUC, he came across a post of audition for the MC of the college's biggest event, the annual day. He sat back and thought, if I hide behind this wall, I'll stay here for the rest of my life. Let me come out of my shell and see how the world works. He then approached one of the faculties and told her, faculties of the judges panel, and told her that he's interested in being the MC. She looked at him and immediately ridiculed him. Are you kidding me? Don't waste our time. Come back after 5 years when you're in the final year of undergraduation. Poor fellow had no choice, but he never gave up. He still went ahead and registered for the audition. Why? Every game of football has a goalkeeper. That doesn't mean we can't score a goal, right? So he went ahead and registered for the audition, and after 2 grueling days, guess what? He was selected. What followed was he was the official MC of the college for the next 5 years for all the events of the college. He never gave up, he never gave in, but he gave it all he got because he was a selfless person. So, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, it's my pleasure to introduce you to that person who never gave up, Shashank. How old do you think I am? Any guesses? How old do you think I am? 21? 18. Thank you. 25. 25. No one is even close. I turned 30 last year. But do I look like 30? Age is just a number. On 5th March 1992, I was born to this wonderful couple, Chandrasekhar and Pankaja. They named me Shashank. Shashank means moon, or in Kannada they call Chandra. It was a disciplined and strict upbringing, and the only person who could shake me was my father, Chandrasekhar. That's great. Exactly 14 months ago, I got married to an amazing person, beautiful girl, Kavya. But what happened before the wedding is a story in itself. My cousin sitting here, Kaushal, is only 4 months older than me. But he got married when he was only 25. So you can imagine what would happen in my family. As soon as I turned 25, the alarm bells started ringing in my family. Shashank, you're 25 now. Shashank, you're 26. Look at Kaushal, he's already married. It's been 1 year. Shashank, you're 27 now. Kaushal is about to be a father. You're 28 next year. I should tell them, guys, relax. Age is just a number. I still look young, so it works in my favor. They always ask me, you take so many trainings in many places, do you not find a single girl at least? The problem is, most of my trainees are much, much older than me. 30, 35, 40, 50 plus. I have taken more than 200 training sessions. I have trained more than 4,000 individuals on various topics on finance, accounts and taxation. The participants include students, chartered accountants, foreign delegates, corporate and government employees, officers and commissioners of income tax, officers and auditors of C&AG. Not even a single girl who was younger than me. What do I do? I can't find the right match there. Fortunately, my family did not come back to me and tell me, Shashank, age is just a number. But later, the teacher who ridiculed me when I was young, she invited me last December to conduct a GST certification course in the college which I studied. But now I have a young crowd, attractive girls in the crowd. Too late, I'm already married. There was an instance when one guy walked up to me during the class and told me, sir, many girls have a crush on you. I just gave them my finger. So don't get me wrong, the wedding will be. But too late, I was already married by then. But from my experience, one thing I've observed is that people think there is nothing much to learn from you if you are young. I come here on stage, many times I could hear murmurs in the crowd saying, he's so young, what can he teach us? But by the time my profile was right, half the mouths were shut. When I opened my mouth, almost all the mouths were shut. The thing here is, what matters the most? My passion to teach and your intention to learn. This is what matters most. That's the best thing about Toastmasters. We don't look at the age, we look at the experience and we look at what we can learn from others. Right? Right? I'm speaking here today, one senior member is evaluating me. Tomorrow the roles may change. A senior member may be speaking, I may be evaluating. So there is no age limit here. What matters is the passion to speak, passion to learn. 2 eminent speakers are following me after my speech, DTM Rajdeep and Toastmaster Vaidyanathan. I never thought, oh, I can never win a certificate today. Distinguished speakers are speaking. No, I didn't think. Why? I'm not competing with them. I'm competing with myself. I'm here to learn and become a better version of myself. If I prepare, if I present, and if my speech is better than my previous speech, I consider myself a winner. Go to the question.
Thank you very much, Shashank, for an excellent speech, and we'll keep up this spirit to do this, come out of comfort zone also. One of the benefits of the Toastmaster, attending a Toastmaster meeting is this. For one speech, there is a one evaluator. But as a member, when you are not a role taker, you can actually evaluate all the 3 speakers. And the best part is, you can check your evaluation against the evaluation of the 3 other evaluators also. So it's a very good opportunity to learn by observing. So for the next speaker, may I request the evaluator to read the guidelines. The evaluator for our next speaker is someone who's filled with energy, very dynamic, very nice voice. So may I request Toastmaster Guru Prasad to read the guidelines.
Thank you very much, Lucas, for your kind introduction. Good evening, Toastmasters, and welcome this. Today, the speaker is attending the speech from the part Presentation Mastery, Level 1 First Speech. The purpose of this project is to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to the second speech. Timer, please note the speech duration is 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Guru Prasad. The next speaker is someone whom I call has a dazzling personality and a booming voice. So please join me in welcoming the Toastmaster or the president of the next speaker, next speech, Toastmaster Vaidyanathan.
Well, thank you very much, the TM for the day. So today I'm going to talk about a particular book which I read recently, which I found it pretty interesting. For the simple reason, it gave a lot of practical tips on how exactly you can inculcate a habit. The book that I'm referring to is called Atomic Habits, and the author is James Clear. This book starts off with a wonderful story or an anecdote. It talks of the British cycling team. It says close to 110 years, no one from the British cycling team had won any medal. And for 110 years, they waited for the Tour de France champion to be produced. And that's when they decided that they wanted to have someone who can bring in a lot of change in the way cycling happens in Britain. So they brought in someone who is called as a performance director. Typically what happens, the performance director comes in and he makes radical changes, sweeping changes, but this gentleman didn't do any of those. All that he did was made some small changes. Small changes in the sense atomic changes. Right from the way in which the color of the dormitory was painted, the pillow that they were using, the heights of the seat, so on and so forth. What happened was, for a period of the next 3 years, these changes became so great and they produced some phenomenal results. And British cycling team between 2007 and 17 won close to 178 world championships. And they also won 6 out of the 7 Tour de France champions. Why did he say this? Because he says this is exactly what happens in our life as well. The smaller the changes that you keep doing day in and day out, you see phenomenal results. So that's why he says, habits are the compound interest of self-development. If this is so easy, then why is it so difficult, man? So why do we find it very difficult to inculcate a habit? The author says that there are two specific reasons. One is we always expect a latent result, a linear result. We say, okay, I run for 2 days and then I need to have a flat tummy. I need 2 books, then I need to become a stable topic speaker. 2 good quality meals and then I need to become fit. We expect linear results. That's where this disappointment happens. You could see this particular area, the value of disappointment, What normally happens is we don't give enough of time. Before we cross this value of disappointment, we quit. So that's the reason we don't form habits. And the second reason that he gave is, there are 2 ways in which the habits can be formed. One is called the inward to outward, and the other one is called outward to inward. He says typically what happens is we set a goal and we adjust our process accordingly. Say for example, if I need to run a marathon, as our keyboard said, you set a goal that I want to run at 10K in less than 1 hour in the next 3 months. And then you tune your process accordingly. The author says it is not going to help you in any way. Because you will quit. After 3 months, once you achieve the 10K marathon, you will quit. If you want to make this a habit, what you need to do is you need to get it for the identity to outcome. That means rather than saying that I want to run a marathon in 1 hour, 10 kilometers in 1 hour, you need to say, I want to become a runner. The moment you say that I want to become a runner, it becomes an identity. So once it becomes an identity, you tweak your process accordingly. So how are habits formed? The author says it's a pretty simple mechanism, a 4-way process. To begin with, it starts with a cue and follows with a craving, a response, and then finally a reward. So this is how the loop happens. Say for example, your phone blinks. Okay, that's the cue. That means it can be a sound, it can be a light, it can be an aroma, anything which triggers is a cue. The moment you see your phone blinking, what do? You get a craving. Who has sent the message? And what can be the content of the message? That's the craving, the yearning to see what exactly is there in the phone. And then the response comes in. What do? You pick up the phone and then you start scrolling. And then finally the reward. Wow. So my girlfriend has sent me a message, or my wife has sent me a message. The sense of getting the fulfillment, the dopamine gets produced. So that's what the habit is formed. This is called as a behavioral loop actually. Starts with a cue and ends with a reward. Once this starts going round and round and round, the behavior after some point in time becomes a habit. What will happen? What do we need to do? Suppose in case if we need to inculcate a habit, you need to change the behavior into a habit, then it has to go through these 4 stages. That means you need to make your cue as obvious as possible. That's the first step. And the second one is that craving has to be attractive, and the third step being the response has to be pretty easy, and finally the reward has to be pretty satisfying. So I will explain to you in the form of our own running. Okay, suppose in case if you want to run, and if you want to make running as a habit, first thing is you need to make the cue pretty obvious. So what is the cue here? So your running shoes or your track pants or suits. So you need to ensure that you are kept ready everything for the next day's morning run. So the cue is to make it obvious, so to keep your pair of shoes ready for the next day morning. And the second one is the craving. It is to make it attractive. How can we make it attractive? Running is not a sport where it is pretty attractive. You need to sweat a lot, right? So how can you do it? So you need to join a running club where the desired behavior of yours is the normal behavior. If you want to become speaking as a habit, you need to get on to your Toastmasters Club, because this is the desired behavior. The desired behavior is to become a better speaker. And how can you become better? Join a club where that behavior is good. Behavior everybody possesses. So the second one is the craving has to become attractive. And the third one, according to the author, is you need to make the response very easy. That means there shouldn't be any friction. Okay, so if you need to run, you can't drive down to a park which is 15 kilometers away, because there is too much of friction for you to get in. So the response is to make it easy as possible. get onto your park which is close by, or get onto your road which is close by and start running. Okay, and then finally he says the reward has to be pretty satisfying. So anything that gets rewarded is repeated. Pretty simple statement. Suppose in case if you decided to run today and if you had run and then give a pat on your back and then get yourself a reward. Right? So 4 simple steps. Cue, craving, response and reward. And finally what he says is there is a zone called as a Goldilocks zone that he talks about. Suppose in case if you get into a difficulty level which is pretty easy. Suppose in case if you want to run a marathon and then you start with only a 2-minute run, then it becomes pretty easy and then boredom steps in and then you will quit. At the same time, when you get onto your path where the level of difficulty is pretty huge, then you will lose your motivation. So what you need to do is you need to fix up certain level of difficulty which is just above your easier self. So that's called the Goldilocks zone. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a wonderful book which can be a life-changing one. If at all, if you haven't picked it up so far, do it now and then it can give you great insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramesh, for sharing about the atomic habits. We remember that, as they say, a drop builds the ocean. So, same for Toastmasters also. I remember that when I joined Toastmasters, we had a weekly membership, and she told us that for 1 year, just come and sit and observe. You don't have to speak. I said, yeah, that's very easy. I can just come, sit and observe. And then something happened. I would come to the meetings, I would just sit, I would observe people coming in, going out, clapping, happening, and so forth. But somewhere in the 6th or 7th month, something triggered. And I could feel that change. So that happens when we are, as you said, the desired behavior is a normal behavior. It changes one, it motivates one. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. So for the next speech, we have an evaluator who's very creative. And I call him, as Shashank said, a moon. Why? Like a moon, he appears and disappears, appears and disappears, appears and disappears. So let me invite the evaluator for the third speaker, Toastmaster Vijay Kalpandi, to share the
The next speaker is going to attempt a level 2 speech on the pathways of leadership development. The purpose of the speech is identify his or her primary leadership style, show some aspect of his or her primary leadership style, or discuss the leadership style in general. Timer, please note the time is from 5 to 7 minutes. Back to you.
Thank you very much. So the next speaker is the National Award winner, a TEDx speaker, and he's a professor in the Jain University, very motivated, many times winner of the table topics and other contests. Please join me in welcoming DTM Rajdeep M.
7 years back, I was sitting in my staff room and a tall, lanky boy came up to me and said, "Sir, yesterday you gave us a homework to prepare an ad on a pen." I said, "Yes, what happened?" "Sir, when I was preparing the ad, I found that I could not get any ideas. I'm so useless, sir." Then when I put my head down quickly, I saw my thin legs and I remembered, sir, that I had taken part in the heats to take part in the football team. And then after running for 15 minutes itself, I felt so tired, sir, and I was kicked out of the heats. "Sir, I'm so worthless, sir. Sir, I'm useless, hopeless, worthless, sir. I don't think I should live." I was very, very aghast with what he was saying. I said, "Jay, what are you talking? In fact, I wanted to speak to you a few days back and I told you that I needed somebody to help me to go from the classroom to the staff room and to the toilet, and I was identifying you. Can you do that for me?" He said, "Okay, sir." For a week he did that for me. He kept helping me carrying my attendance register, duster, etc. to the staff room and back. After that I told him, "You know that girl Jay, she takes attendance? He said, yes. I found that she's giving proxy. You should take the attendance. He said, no, sir. I told, no, she is. You have to do it. He started taking attendance for me in class. After another 2 weeks, I told him, Jay, you know, that boy Harish who writes on the board for me, he's not writing properly. You have to write. No, sir, he writes properly. I told him, my mind, he's not trying to come and say, you are trying to. But anyway, you have to write on the board for me. And from that day onwards, he started writing on the board for me. In that entire semester for 6 months, he did all my work and became my right-hand man, and he actually improved and he felt his sense of worth increase. And by the end of the semester, he cleared the entrance for Infosys BPO and he's now working there for the past 5 years. Did I lead, Jay? Let's find out. What is leadership? The Dictionary of Management terminology defines leadership as the art of influencing subordinates to achieve a particular goal, and leadership style as the manner in which you lead an individual or influence the person. Toastmasters has identified 8 leadership styles, which we can remember by the acronym AAA, TCD, IP. Authoritarian, altruistic, affiliative, bureaucratic, coaching, democratic, innovative, and pace-setting. And I have identified my leadership style as the coaching leadership style. What is the coaching leadership style? It is a leadership style which empowers individuals by encouraging them through supporting and innovating their tasks and making their approach easier. Let's see how this coaching leadership style works. Imagine a mother trying to teach her small child how to walk. When he's 15 months old, she tells him, leave my pallu, leave my sari, walk, walk. She empowers him. And when he walks for 2-3 steps, she applauses him for every step, encourages him. Wonderful, beta, excellent. And if he falls, does she go and slap him and tell him, you can't do this? No. She says, oh my God, she hits the floor and says, oh, dirty floor. And she supports him innovatively. And these are the 3 criteria for a coaching leadership style: empowerment, encouragement, and supporting people innovatively. I had empowered Jay to become what he had become. Coming to the second point, the encouragement point of view. In 2008, when I was a Toastmaster here at Bangalore Toastmasters, I had a mentee called Madhusan Bagaji. He was attempting his chartered accounting and he was very nerdy, he used to study a lot. But everything was very theoretical, nothing practical. So if I asked him, Madhusudan, can you do an e-transfer? He says, sir, it's not in the syllabus, sir. I decided when I became the president in June 2008 for BPMC that I am going to have him as my treasurer. I encouraged him. I told him, you have to be my treasurer. Nobody else can take up that role. He said, no, sir, I won't be able to do it. No, you have to do it. In those 6 months, he learned everything. The e-transfer was not so popular. He arranged for international credit cards. He deposited checks. He got the names transferred from the bank. And now when he met me a few days back, he said, what I learned in those 6 months was more than what I learned for theory in CA. Every time he did something well, I encouraged him. Take an incident now. Srijit, who was the president the last term, was my mentee. And he was very reluctant to give speeches when he joined the club. But I told him, Srijit, you have to do it. I made him the sergeant at arms. And he was encouraged every time I made him give the speech. And in the end, he not only became the YP education but also the president. The last point, supporting innovatively. I was the Joint Secretary of National Association for the Blind Karnataka, and there was an issue which was raging that there were no braille books for children who are taking up commerce. So we wrote 2 letters to the registrar of Bangalore University, but nothing happened. I told the children, write letters in braille. We wrote 5 letters, no response. We went to the Minister of Higher Education, Arvind Nimbavali, and we told him the registrar is not responding. He called the registrar. He said, sir, we received only 2 letters. We told, sir, we sent 7 letters. He said, but 5 letters were in a language I didn't understand. I told, that's the point, sir. Just like you don't understand braille, we don't understand print. How will we be able to read the problems? How will we be able to do the thing? And the amount was sanctioned for the first braille press in Bangalore. Not only that, we had another idea. When Arvind Nimbawali was going out, we all said, sir, we want to shake hands with you. And some of the prime children shook his hand, somebody touched his hair and said, you have a good beard, sir. Somebody touched his eyebrows and said, you have a good mood, sir. So what is this? I said, sir, not only that, sir, when they are writing for the scribe, you have only science students and art students who are allowed to write. If they don't understand what they are doing, how will we understand what we are doing? And two things got sanctioned. We got scribes of commerce to write for commerce, and we got the Braille press sanction, which later on led me to get the national award from the President of India. So a good coaching style is like what a lady said. She said, when I met Mahatma Gandhi, I felt so important. But when I met Nehru, I felt that he was important. A good coach not only makes you feel important, but he leaves the place a better place when he actually moves out. So can we all be better individuals and support, encourage and empower individuals in their leadership journey? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajdeep for sharing your leadership style and also the tips on leading, encouraging people, and more importantly, making a lasting change in the society. With this, we'll take a 10 minutes short break, 7 minutes short break, and that's the time. Next segment is the table topics, and as I said, that this is a segment which has helped me a lot to overcome and to actually get out of the comfort zone and think on our feet. And to take this segment forward, we have a Toastmaster who's a 19-year-old computer science student in college. He's also the president of the Auditors Club, and he's the youngest pro bodybuilder. Please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Aditya.
Good evening, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Table topics helps members practice the art of improvisation and also helps us develop the 4 vital keys of communication. Does anyone know what the 4 keys are? It's listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. Topics that I have prepared for you will help you become better at improvisation, as well as this session is open to guests and members. We have constructed the topics in a scheduled manner and in accordance with today's theme. So now the timer will read out the guidelines.
So the duration of table topics is for 1 to 2 minutes. At the first minute, I'll hold up the green card. At the 1 minute, 30 seconds, I'll hold up the yellow card. And in 2 minutes, I'll hold up the red card. Over to you.
Thank you. So the first topic is, you're the director of a movie called The Iceberg Road. Try to convince us to see the movie you worked so hard on achieving. For this, I'd like to call up Mr. Alan Arna.
Actually, being a director of this movie called Iceberg Lounge was a very, very difficult experience because things got heated when the movie, I was not getting a release date for at least more than 2-3 years now. People were not ready to come to the theatre. I was scared of getting out of the house. The Amazon and Netflix were not negotiating a good deal, and it was a regional language film made in Bhojpuri. So these were some of the challenges that I faced with Iceberg Lounge. The other problem that I faced was I realized that the title Iceberg Lounge alienated the Bhojpuri audience. They could not identify with this title. But the other problem was that this title was decided by the producer's son. Now, the producer was refusing to let go of this, title. Now, why am I telling you all this? The reason I'm telling you all this is I worked really hard on this film, okay? And I can easily tell you, for being a Bhojpuri film and having an international title, I can surely tell you that if you are expecting a blockbuster, this is a local blockbuster that you would have never ever experienced in your entire life. So remove your masks, chill out, and enjoy the film Bhojpuri style. Back to the
The next topic is explain the concept of the internet to an Egyptian noble in 3500 BC. This topic goes to Toastmaster Awai.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and dear pharaohs. I'm sure that all of you are in your graves and are mummies today. But explaining the concept of internet to you is going to be phenomenally simple. Say that you wanted to build a pyramid and wanted to import stones from Jaipur, for instance. So you only have to log on to a device called a computer and just click the order button on Jaipur Stones website, and the stones will get delivered to you. Perhaps they will get delivered to you on elephants, not via a truck or not via airlift, but surely they will get delivered. Say that you want to have a better workforce, so you only have to put out a resume. I'm building the world's greatest structure that will stand for 3,000 years. Come be a part of history, and I'm sure people will apply for jobs. So the internet is a place where you can only connect with people. And like they say, I heard a long time back in Toastmasters that social media is like a mirror, or the internet is like a mirror. What you put in or what you project is what you will see back. So, my dear fellows, I'm sure you want to communicate. I'm sure that you don't want to have slaves building your pyramids and curse you. So go out to the internet, find people that you want, pay them with all the gold, and I'm sure that you'll be remembered all through history. Over to you.
You're on Shark Tank. Try to pitch the idea of selling your chocolate chip cookie and elaborate why you're better than the competition. I'd like to call up Toastmaster Chaitra for this.
My dear judges on Shark Tank, now there's one thing that people love universally: chocolate. And you know what? People consume chocolate all the time, and they have fond memories of chocolate, right from when they are small to the present. So, you know what you need to do to get people to consume more of it and get rich via your investments? Give them chocolate. expensive. You can't, sell as much quality chocolate as you might want. But you can use chocolate chip cookies, which people enjoy universally. And chocolate chip cookies are something that people will go out and buy day in and day out. My brand of chocolate chip cookies comes in different varieties. You have white chocolate chip cookies, you have dark chocolate chip cookies, and of course our favorite chocolate chip cookies with extra chocolate just for kids. They may be common, but people love them universally, and this is how you make them a profit, because chocolate chip cookies sell very quickly. Over to you.
You're at a charity ball and Elon Musk meets you. But you're the CEO of an oil giant. Convince him why you should invest in your company. This topic goes out to Toastmaster Hannah.
Such a long topic. So basically what I understand is that I head an oil giant company and I have to convince Elon Musk to invest in my company. So Elon, I know you are into a lot of green energy projects, and but if you invest back in the conventional form of oil, it just goes back to sales. Oil, imagine, all these years, all these centuries, we have run countries with the money generated out of oil. So as a give back to the oil sector, it may be depleted nevertheless, but then it held or progressed the world to what it is today. You can take it on, but then like how your CSR activities are, so you can invest back into the conventional energy, and definitely it will support you in your initiatives further on. Thank you.
What is your idea of the best job? This topic also to our guest person.
The best job, right? My idea of the best job. Alright, good evening Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
My idea of the best job is what I do for my living. I am an entrepreneur and I run about 4 restaurants and 1 gaming center. So this, according to me, is the best job. From where I started to where I am today, the entrepreneurial journey has taught me a lot of things. Wherein it is like when you are an entrepreneur, you have all the departments related to work within yourself. You have to have it within yourself, otherwise you will not be able to manage a business. Because when you have to run a business, you have to be the HR, you have to be good at finances, you have to be good at marketing. At least even if you are not able to manage everything directly, if somebody else is doing it for you, you at least have to watch out for what they are doing. So this is why I say being an entrepreneur will teach you a lot of things in life which a lot of other things or other jobs will not teach you. Because when you go to a specific job, it's more like you are you're good with a certain thing, a certain skill. But when you're an entrepreneur, you have to have hands-on experience in all the departments of the specific business. Over to you.
And finally, who was the most important person in history according to you? This question goes out to Toastmaster George.
So, good evening, Toastmasters and all my delegates. Today being a Good Friday, and we speak about religious, but I am inspired always with Jesus Christ, who has come to this world 2000 years ago, and he did took the form of mastery. He took a form of a person, like a slave, to serve others, not to be served. So I'm always been inspired with his teachings, principles, and I live within that framework, but trying to live that. But so to conclude, I'm being inspired by Jesus, who has brought in the values and the frameworks to myself and to my family as well. Thank you.
Thank you for the dynamic and wonderful answers by your members and guests. Over to Toastmaster.
It was a very excellent selection of the topics, and there are a few observations which I also do that. So whenever a speaker is called up for a debate topic, people take the longest route. And very comfortable, as if like Kapan Bar, Lal Bar. And most importantly, they walk as if they're counting the tides. Tide number 1, tide number 2, tide number 3, tide number 4. All of us know it's just to buy the time so that we are able to think. An excellent session. Thank you very much to all the speakers. Very good learning for you also. For the next segment is the evaluation. And for this, I'd like to call upon, I'd like to invite the general evaluator. General evaluator for today is a very seasoned Toastmaster, an IT guru who has mentored many people. He has been with us for many years, and whichever role he takes up, he brings his uniqueness to that particular role. So please join me in welcoming the general evaluator, Toastmaster Sudipto.
Toastmasters is where leaders are made, and effective evaluations go a long way towards achieving that goal. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Good evening. About 8 months back, in Summer Olympics in Tokyo, the Indian field hockey team was playing West Germany for the bronze medal match. Germany was a very formidable opponent, and midway into the first half, they were leading India by 2 goals, which India did make up by halftime. So the score at halftime went 3-3. Early into the second half, India went ahead by 2 more goals. They pumped in 2 more goals to beat 5-3. And that is when the German team regrouped and attacked relentlessly. Around the 48th minute of the match, Indian Citadel fell. The scoreline went 5-4. And the Germans were attacking in waves and waves. And that is when the Indian team regrouped. It made us fun. That's when they gave it their all. And for every wave of German attack, the defense and the goalkeeping stood like the bird in wall. Very soon the long booter went, and India had the first bronze medal in Olympics in 41 years. That to me, tells me the epitome of, when we say winners never quit, and what giving it all make it happen. And in our club, over the weeks and weeks after, we have seen how the committee members have given their all to make every meeting a success, barring them today's included. With all the challenges with the Bangalore untimely rain happening, the meeting schedule for today had to be reworked multiple times. But the committee was up to it, and we saw the meeting start off not at time at 6:30. Kudos to the committee for this. First up, we had our Sergeant at Arms, Dr. Vaidyanathan up on the stage. He started off the meeting right on time and then went on to speak about the theme of the meeting, where she beautifully connected that theme to her own story in life, right? About her PhD and all that, right? And you know that anytime you come to the stage and narrate your own story, your connect with the audience goes up very high. And not only that, the great thing about that was not when she ended the story, she connected that same thing back to introduction to the Madam President, how she is into her new role and how that connected beautifully to the team. Personally, beautiful, really beautiful. Given that there were a few areas we could have improved upon. First thing, and this goes for all our future Sergeant at Arms also. The very first Sergeant at Arms is the first person all the speakers and the guests have the touch of Toastmasters. Right? So you have to set the energy of the meeting. That I felt was missing. Came up at a very matter of factly and started the meeting. So if you could, just picture this, right? Just 2-3 minutes before the meeting, take maybe a timer or something. But folks, get ready. We are about to start in 2 minutes, 1 minute, do a countdown, and then you start off with a little louder voice. So that gets everybody in the groove for the meeting. Right? Something is coming, right? Yeah. Good meeting is about to start. Good practice that will take your role much further. But let's hear it for Dr. Vaidyanathan for a great start. Before I come to the President, let me talk about the Secretary and Kirtana. So, Kirtana, I think week after week, we have seen some beautifully crafted meeting minutes come out from you and without fail on Sundays, right? So it has been so refreshing to read your minutes. I've missed quite a lot of you, but when I read your minutes, it's described it so beautifully, right? So it's always very well crafted and beautiful synopsis is there. And you came out and read that out as well today. So really a beautiful job done there. But where you can take it a little more further is kept referring to more for every line you were reading this, looking up, reading this, looking up. I know you cannot memorize the entire maybe you cannot memorize the entire summary of the meeting when you are delivering that, but at least key parts of the meeting, if you can do that instead of constantly doing this and reading that will take up your connect much more further. Case in point, you came in as the listener later on, right? And that was the role, you spoke about the role impromptu, right? You were facing the audience and describing the role, and your connect was so much more great. So try if you can add that to your repertoire. But other than that, very well crafted minutes and very well done. And that's really for our ever smiling, charming Madam President. Madam, as soon as you came up the stage, you lit up the stage with your lovely smile, and we all felt very, very much at home, very comfortable, right? that's a hallmark of a great speaker. How you make the audience comfortable. They have not come to hear the speech, right? They have come to just watch the proceedings. Right? So I think great marks for that. Then what I particularly liked about what you said about the theme is, to me, the theme has three parts, right? Give up, give in, and the last part. So I always related the first two parts with a negative connotation, right? You give up on something you are attempting to do. But I really like the way you turn that around, both the give up and the give in part in your own personal story. I mean, first of all, on a personal story, that itself gives the high connect, but how you turned about those parts into a positive connotation in that, and then you went about and spoke at length about the story and connected all parts of the theme. Really good. The only part in your speech where was kind of the phrases when you said you were talking about your husband and you said give up. Giving up on your husband. So what? So again, as I said, you had a great eye contact and you took it the way you introduced the next speaker, that is the MC of the new location, that acronym, that was all that KIU, right? That was all really beautiful. The only part where I felt, you strayed a little, was that, just speak to that single pointed theme which you had, and you could just speak to that, right? But in between you delved into physics and the theory of physics, and then you went into the rise part. I think that also could have cut out just straight on the theme which you spoke, and then how well you connected the theme to the motivation part of the speaking journey for the Toastmaster, right? So all that very well, that just gives some other smaller pieces. That makes it much more interesting. But again, for a wonderful job done. Let's hear it for that. Okay, now we go back to the man who is always shining on the top. Right? But Lokesh, not only did you show from the top, you shone all around, right? You dazzled us with the way you handled today's role. Started off with a beautiful speech on story on marathon and how that epitomized the theme for me. And if I picture you today and you tell me about the marathon experience, I will have a hard time doing that, right? But the way you attempted that, the way you brought that story to life on the stage was really refreshing, and we could all really connect very well. Thank you for that. Then, I think, first of all, you had a very winning smile. Just always keep it up, and I thought that was one of the hallmarks of your way you handled the role today. On other parts also, you were very well prepared. You had pretty good, I won't say brilliant, but you had pretty good intros for all the speakers and the evaluators as well. You also did the central tenet of a MC's role, where you need to connect one speaker to the next, right? How just example, how you connected Vaidyanathan's atomic habits to the habits to build up and took it to the next. Or even at the very end when we have our Toastmaster, right? How you commented on his role, I think it was super big. Just keep that part up. Keep places where, again, in my personal opinion, which we could have done a little better job. Couple of things. So one which I felt was most of the time we did not vary the tone and tenor of your voice. It was very monotonic at the same level. If you could either speed it up or take it up, right? In between, mix it up. I think something think Rajdeep sir did very well, right? He started very low voice for his coach. He took it up, again brought it down. So vary both speed and the loudness or lack of it. I think that's one thing we could do. Second thing again, I felt, in my opinion, there were parts of the meeting where you were not fully prepared, right? So at those parts, what happened was you had a great eye contact, you all of a sudden you started looking down, your voice kind of tailed off because you were mentally you were not in the meeting, but still trying to figure out what you want to say. So I think those are the few things which you can maybe do a little more preparation and then take it up all the way. Right? But other than that, fantastic job. Let's hear it for. May come to the TM Master before I invite the evaluators. So, Aditya, I think the selection of topics was fantastic. Right? One of there are three things about Toastmasters why we come here, right? Better speaking, better listening, and better thinking. Right? The topics will be difficult, but I think sometimes you need some of those to really make us think on us. So I have no complaints against the toughness of the topics. That's good, right? Sometimes we need that. The only thing which I would say, some speakers commented about that, right? If the topics are a bit too long, if you can make it more crisper, more shorter, please, if you have to have a long topic, repeat it. Right? Repeat it for the sake of the audience, because even some of the speakers were not able to get the entire thing about it. So that's one thing you have to do as a topic master. A bonus if you could do is if you could connect one speaker speech to the next. Just a word or two about that. That will take it even higher, but at least at the very minimum have more different topics or repeated topics. But other than that, I love the topics and I love it even more because I know it's not something new. So I have the same dread as you mentioned about it as topics, but today I was very good. Right? Let's hear it for Aditya. Yeah, so folks, please, the voting link is out there. Please log in and vote for the table.
The password is Dragonfly decaps.
The password is Dragonfly with decaps, right? And if only D is caps. We will now move on to our evaluators of today's speech. For the very first speech by Shashank, our evaluator was George. George, to be having evaluation.
And little long pauses, then only very few people, the report I'll be submitting to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujata. And Alan for the remaining.
So, it's always good when the pros outweigh the cons, right, in life. And very happy to say that in this meeting as well, the good usage of the English language outweighed the not so good usages. Now, what do I mean by that? So, let's all learn together. So, the good usages were triads, demands and commands, marathon bug, coming out of his shell, passion to teach, intention to learn, yearning to see, tall, lanky boy, aghast, issue raging, seasoned Toastmasters, attacked relentlessly, stood like the Berlin Wall, winners never quit, getting everyone in the groove, beautifully crafted, case in point, tone and tenor, Now, what is something that could be improved? So, not so good usages are very few, but let's go. So, before the marriage could be before getting married. In audience could be in the audience. For future can be for the future. Of the public speaking, of public speaking. Dot at time, dot on time. So much more great can be so much better. Very big congratulations. Can just be congratulations. Back to you. Oh, by the way, I'm so sorry. I'll be doing a huge disservice by not mentioning this. The word of the day was used by the Toastmaster of the day, Lokesh, and our first speaker, Shashank.
And for the listener, we have
Good evening to you all once again. So, how do you all rate your listening skills? On 5.
We rated after the answer.
No, generally, how would you rate your listening skills? I would rate myself like 2.5. I never listen to my mom. I'm always standing around. Ooh. Okay, let's move on to the first question. According to the Toastmaster of the day, which speaker loves to talk a lot? And how old is Shashank? 30. I actually didn't expect that either. What are the two different approaches in Toastmaster Vaidyanathan's speech? He explained as well, and you've seen it as well. Yes, it said world's approach and Lord's approach. Yeah, it said world's approach and Lord's approach, but Shashank also mentioned it correctly. It's linear and who was Rajdeep sir's right hand man? What was his name? Yeah. His name was Jay. What is Rajdeep sir's leadership style? Great job, you guys. Improve yourselves as great listeners.
Thank you, Kirtana. When you asked me how to rate our listening skills, I said 5 because that's how attentively I listen to my boss. But if it is my wife, I would rate myself 1, I think. That said, I think all the channel team did a great job, and let's hear it for all of them. That does get me to my end of my work today. Would really love to thank the committee for giving me this opportunity to come on stage after more than 2 years, and been very nervous about it. Thank you.
Actually, it has been a good learning experience, lessons for us. Thank you very much. Let's hear once more for I would request all the guests that because you see the meeting from a non-member perspective, may I also request I would also request guests to please, after the meeting, do share with me what has been your perception of today's meeting, some things that you like and things that you could improve also. In the interest of time, so I cannot call all of you. So with this, I would request you to vote for the best role taker. The link has been shared. The password is again Dragon. The theme for today's meeting is give up, giving, and give all you have got. And Bangalore Toastmasters Club really embodies this particular thing. I've seen from the time when we had the first set of role takers to the time we have actual role takers, and this has changed really dramatically a lot. And the role of a TMOD has also evolved quite a bit, especially in the last 2-3 sessions, where it's no longer a Toastmaster of the day, it's just a Toastmaster on demand 30 hours before the meeting. And this has become more of a, it's not a role, it has become a competency where 5 minutes before the meeting, we ask a Toastmaster to take a new role, primarily. During the meeting, we ask the Toastmaster to take a new role, listener. So it's actually a skill, a competence, Toastmaster on demand. So with this, let me invite the presiding officer, President Vaidyanathan.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Lokesh. Now I will just run through the announcements for the next week. We continue. 24th is our anniversary celebrations, but we will have a meeting on the 22nd Friday, same place, and request all the members with their spouses, please join us for the celebrations. And I'd like to invite the first time guests. I think there is just one gentleman. Yes, please come over and mention your name and how did you hear about the Bangalore Toastmasters?
There a speaker had in passing mentioned about this forum, so it kind of excited me, so they were going to explore something.
The results are done, and the best taggle team player goes to Toastmaster Alina Rama. The best role taker award goes to Toastmaster Lokesh. The best table topic speaker goes to speech crafter P.K. Kaushal. The best evaluator goes to Toastmaster Vijay Kalkundi. And the best speaker award goes to DTM Dr. Rajdeep M. So I adjourn meeting number 1320. Have a good night. And thank you so much for coming in spite of it being a holiday.